I'm in LA and I met a couple people and they started talking about hitting these bank licks and shit. And then I connected with the guy who ended up shooting me. And,
so you knew this guy?
Oh yeah, no, we was partners in crime.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
We was partners in crime, man. So I hit a lick with him and this other cat. He and I just hit it off, man. We just hit it off, man. We just had a bromance, man. We just connected. And so we started hitting licks together, man. So he kind of put me up on that game a little bit, and so we started doing that back in L.A. and in San Francisco.
Really? Mm-hmm. How does it go sour?
I mean, there's no honor among thieves, right? That's what they say. I had found out that a couple early licks we hit that he had skimmed.
Tucked on you.
He had tucked on me, yeah. So then I set some things up. So then I'm doing the same thing because that's just what you do. I'm like, okay, and you're already established. I'm competitive as fuck.
Right.
But I'm like, all right, well, this is just how you do it. But that wasn't really the issue. The issue, I think, I don't know this for sure, and I'm going to let him tell his own story, but I think maybe some substances has gotten involved on his end. I don't know that for a fact, so that's not, but just from what I heard. But just egos, man, just egos. And I remember, he had a chain, right? And I never was a jewelry guy, but he had a chain. That was for those days. She was doing it. Like, it was flossy. And when I would go to LA, I would stay with him and his girl. Unbeknownst to me, I found this out later. The girl was in his ear talking about, whenever they get in an argument, I think she'd be like, "Well, I should fuck Patrick." I didn't even know this, and I would never do that. So that's hurting the ego. And then this chain situation, he had a chain, because when you Google me, I'm sure that came up. I go down to LA, and I had to break out. I had to get back to the Bay. So I left, and he goes, "All right, well, my shit is at your house." He goes, "All right, well, here's the key." So I go back and get my stuff and go back home. Then 2 days later, he's like, "All right, we're going to hit this new lick up in the Bay. I'm going to come up there." Unbeknownst to me, his chain had come up missing, right? So he comes up, and we hit a lick. We divvy up or whatever. And then he leaves, and he comes back, and he's like, he's got his cousin, and he's got two other dudes. They come in, and this is in my apartment. And he's like, "You stole my chain, man." I'm like, "Fuck is you talking about, man? I stole your chain." So he's like, "You stole my chain, man." Like, "Man, I ain't stole your chain, and fuck you for even saying some shit like that." So we get into it. We're going back and forth. And at some point, he looks at his cousin. He says, "You got that?" And his cousin pulls out a .38 revolver. And he said, "Let's go for a ride." I said, "Motherfucker, you've been watching too many movies, man. If you're going to shoot me in my motherfucking apartment, man." So we arguing back and forth. I said, "Man, I ain't stole your chain, man." I'm like, call your girl. She's probably at the house. I forget how the conversation's going.
Are you up right now financially? Like, you got your own money?
Yeah, I got my own place.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, we're not like fucking millionaires, but we hustle and we live.
I'm just trying to see, what would you get out of stealing this chain?
I mean, it was a valuable chain, but number one, I would never, I've already established that I would hustle, but I had a code in my life.
Morals.
I had morals, right?
Yeah.
If I'm gonna steal from Bank of America, or I'm not gonna steal from this person or that person. I never had that in me, especially not a fucking friend.
Right.
Someone I consider a friend. So he calls his girl, asks him about the chain. She's like, "Nope, it's not here. Let's go for a ride, whatever." So now I'm upset, and that's why I said, I don't know, you watch we just had the parole hearing, and I said this to the parole board, like, I didn't make it easy on them. And when we talk about young people and conflict resolution and all that stuff, I didn't sit there, "Oh, please." I was like, "Motherfucker, you's a punk, man. You a punk. One, for even accusing me. Two, you got your cousin and a gun. Motherfucker, we could just go outside and do what we got to do, man." So he's like, we're going back and forth, and now I'm calling him out his name. I'm like, "Shoot me, motherfucker, shoot me." And he shot me.
Where'd he hit you?
Right here. Came in here and went out here.
Wow.
Yeah. From 4 feet away, man.
In your apartment?
Mm-hmm.
And left you for dead?
Yeah, so he, it's funny because we had watched The Godfather. He had never seen it. And we watched The Godfather. And The Godfather, remember Michael Corleone in the restaurant, he shoots the police captain and what was the dude's name?
I'm terrible with shows' names. I watch
so many. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. The drug dealer, the Turk who wanted to sell drugs, and the Don was like, "No." So he pops them in the restaurant, and he drops the gun, and he goes, "Well, this guy, he dropped the gun."
No fucking way.
So, I remember it. I mean, I never lost consciousness. I've never told this publicly. You're getting the first.
Well, thank you for that.
You're getting the first. So he shoots me from 4 feet away. I go down. And I thought I was gonna die. You know what I mean? You get shot in the fucking face. But I remember everything, Justin. I remember falling back. I remember landing. I remember landing on this side, and it was like somebody was pouring warm syrup over my head, bro. And it was just the blood coming out. And I remember saying, all right, well, fuck, I'm gonna die. And well, first thing I thought is I'm gonna play dead.
So he doesn't finish the job.
Doesn't finish the job. And then, but then I was like, so I'm pretending I'm playing dead, and then I'm like, well, you know, one of these, but then I heard myself breathing hella loud. Like, and I think it was my body's way of telling me you still alive, yo. But I was like, well, one of these breaths is gonna be my last breath. Wow. I remember having that thought.
In that moment.
In that moment.
What the?
One of these breaths is gonna be my last breath. But then I kept breathing. So then our survival instincts kept me. I was like, fuck that, I'm getting up. So I got up, went and locked the door, found out later that they came back.
No fucking
And the
way.
door was locked.
Wait. Before we move on, you fucking me up right now. So in that moment, if you remember, what is his reaction after he shoots you? Is it an oh fuck moment, or you don't know?
You know, so this is interesting. So, and I said this at the parole hearing too. I think initially he was trying to scare me. I really do. You got to understand, I'm 22, he's 23. We're fucking kids, dude. We're fucking kids. We're both two alpha males. You know what I mean? There's obviously a girlfriend who's been talking shit. There's his cousin who, you know, fancied himself a blood, but he was more of a mark than a blood. But, you know, so there's egos involved and there's embarrassment involved. And I think when the gun came out, I mean, his hand wasn't steady. And I saw that, and that's when I went into my you know, I'm cussing him out, calling him a bitch, everything else, right? So, like, again, I think I'm not excusing him. It was some punk ass shit.
Right.
I mean, the dude's bigger than me.
Right.
But he had seen me in the hood. He had seen me touch somebody up before. I'm not saying I'm Mr. Tough Guy.
I'm
not saying that.
All of
But
that plays a part, though.
It plays a part. He had seen me touch somebody up, so he knew. You know, he come from the LA side, and they more shooters than we are up here. It was more fisticuffs up here, even in the transition of the dope game. So yeah, I kind of, you know, I feel like I didn't make it easy on him, man. But yeah, I went down, and then I locked the door, and I picked up the phone. I said, "I'm shot. Come get me."
Wow.
Yeah.
So
And it was an apartment building, so the neighbors called the police.
Right.
So the police has been alerted by multiple people to.
Right.
Yeah, and they got him. They brought him back.
So what did they come back for?
I don't know. It's just I saw
To
that.
see if you were.
To his credit, when we started communicating, he sent me all the transcripts of all the different parole hearings. So I was reading shit that I was like, wow, it was deep.
So they got caught immediately after?
Immediately, yeah.
Wow.
And so they bring me, you know, they bring me. It was me and my partner Nate. We lived together in his dad's place. It was his dad's apartment, which I always felt so horrible about. Sorry, Papa Lou. I've apologized for it, but now I'll do it publicly. And I remember Nate's telling of the stories. Nate was a square. He wasn't involved in nothing, although he dabbled in a couple things. But he was definitely a square, and he was actually that friend who was like, "Dude, you tripping, man."
Yeah.
And that's the thing I wonder if young people have these days. Maybe you know, like I had kids saying, "Man, what the fuck is you doing, yo?"
We don't have that no more. If we do, they're few and far between.
Wow. But I had those dudes saying that you wasting your talent, shit like that. That's a real friend.
That's a great friend.
So Nate was coming home. He worked at a place in Marine. I remember his telling of the stories, like it was the most beautiful day. I'm coming home. And he walks up the stairs, and all of a sudden, it was in Berkeley. Berkeley PD just swarms on him, fucking guns out. Freeze, motherfucker. He's like, yo, this is my spot. They're like, who the fuck are you? He's like, I live here.
And you're already...
I'm inside. Wow. I'm bleeding out my motherfucking head. I remember going to the mirror, and it was a piece of my hair, just a big old knot of bloody hair hanging down, yo, and my whole side of my face was like this, just enormous, bro.
Wow.
So my roommate Nate came home, and the police opened the door. I opened the door, and they just grabbed me and bring me down, you know, not in a... Just like fuck. So they cut my clothes off, and ambulance is coming and all that. So they carry me off, and this is why I always really identified with Pac, man. So I'm on the gurney, you know, fucking thing on the oxygen mask, and they bring him and the other dudes he's with right up to the gurney, and I ripped the motherfucking thing off. I said, I'm still here, motherfucker.
What?
They said, we'll take that as a positive ID.
Wow.
That was it. And then of course his big mistake was that he brought a doctor's kit, a square with him, and this motherfucker spilled
Told
the
everything.
beans. Guy who shot me name is Damon Cook. He's done amazing work while he was down. That's the other thing. Like I always say, I don't fuck with average people. Even the motherfuckers that shoot me are exceptional. I just don't fuck with average people, which is why I'm here.
Right, I appreciate that. Man. I appreciate.
I don't fuck with average people. Like he's been interviewed by Sway.
Wow.
He was doing that program that MC Hammer's involved with, The Last Mile, while he was in Quentin.
Wow.
Bob Myers of the Warriors has fucking talked to him. Like he did a lot of work. He's an incredibly bright guy. He's a
Super dope.
amazingly articulate man. Like, you know, so while I was doing all my work on the outside, he was doing his, and it was actually the Sway interview that made me reach out to him.
Let's get into that.
All right.